I'm your host, Erika Bagby, and you're watching Esports Center now. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me. I'm excited to hear about the first day of the tournament. We can't believe it. I mean, it's been a great turnout so far, I think. We've had 68 matches and 35 groups competing today?
It was terrific. There was so much hard work that went in behind the scenes to get this going, and it's such a short period of time. And I just want to thank Extreme for their involvement. SUNY has done just a phenomenal job at inspiring everybody to get this going, and LeagueSpot has been a terrific partner in organizing everything. So we're just so happy that we're finally competing and have it going. And I know our students are really excited. Nearly 500 students are participating all across the SUNY system. So it's just great to get it going. We can't wait to see how it all unfolds over the next few weeks.
Wow, nearly 500 students. That's amazing. Zach, how did it feel for you game day? Was everything going off without a hitch?
Really smooth. Luckily, we had it everything on LeagueSpot. The system held up great. Everything went well.
That's good. The last thing that anybody wants is technical difficulties on game day, and it's coming from a networking company, right?
Yeah,
so,
luckily we avoided them.
Exactly. Charlie, as a coach, were you happy to see the kids, the students, their performance in the matches?
Oh yeah, it has been a couple months because of quarantine since my students have been able to kind of flex their competitive legs. Oh man, I had at least 3 students calling me after, Murray, did you see my game? Murray, did you see me make that play? And that was the energy that we had during the season. I can't tell you how much I've missed that. It's good to see them again in their element and just having fun.
That's so exciting to hear. It can see just from your response, just how rewarding it must be for you and how happy you must be that you're able to bring them back together and connect them at a time when they weren't sure when they would hang out again in person. And we're still not sure, right?
Yeah, they're still not sure. I mean, we're kind of at the mercy of the virus, I guess. And it was nice for them to be able to connect, but still be, safe in their own homes and everything. But I mean, I'm doing video review after the matches. They're sending me their highlights. They're saying, what did you think of this? Did I build this quick enough, Murray? What do you think? So we're all distant, but I feel like we're still kind of close when we get to participate in something like this.
That's so cool. So Randy, talking about being honored and proud of being a coach and it being rewarding, I imagine that you have a similar experience as the athletic director at SUNY Canton.
Yeah, it's great. Basketball players want to play basketball games, and volleyball players want to play volleyball, and softball and baseball players can't wait to get up to the plate. And that's what we're providing here. It's the same thing. So I love to watch students compete. They love to compete. They love to wear their school's jersey and get after it. And I've been telling people for a couple of years now, since we started esports at SUNY Canton, your top competitor at your school may not be 6'4" and 250 pounds and bench press and 300 pounds, right? It might be someone a lot smaller than that who will gnaw your arm off for a win in Smash Brothers, right? So, I mean, it's just an awesome experience to watch these students compete and do what they love so much. And that's really what this tournament's providing. And to do it across all of SUNY is even more exciting. So we couldn't be more proud to be able to bring this to all of the SUNY schools and just watch our students, all the SUNY students, enjoy themselves so much.
That's awesome. Super great to hear. Now we're going to move on to the next segment. We're welcoming Alec, Knowles, and Justin Brooks to the show. I definitely want to get your feedback and some commentary on what you thought of the games today. Did anything surprise you, or was it exactly what you thought it might be?
Oh shoot!
Go ahead, Justin.
All right.
It's just like the podcast.
Exactly. All right. So, for me personally, one of the big things is watching Buffalo. The Buffalo and Buffalo area schools, they have developed esports and local programs, and seeing as how community colleges today went and overthrew them, they completely upset them, and that's one of the things I was completely surprised by.
Wow, so these are games or teams that didn't exist before, or they're just smaller organizations?
Majority of them are smaller organizations, whether they be clubs or they just didn't exist at all until about a week or two ago when they heard about this tournament. So
that's exciting. So you definitely saw some wins, and that I think gives way for an underdog story. So we'll have to keep our eye out on those players that were strong on the first day's match. Alec, what about you? Anything surprise you?
Other than the underdog story that Justin mentioned earlier, not really a whole lot. I saw a couple of really good Rocket League plays. There were a couple of really good shots that definitely made for some great montage moments. But other than that, it was exactly what I expected.
Okay, so I've heard of sports etiquette, but is there such a thing as esports etiquette?
Absolutely. I definitely think there's something as esports etiquette. For sure that a lot of the games that are on display for the SUNY Chancellor's Challenge here, a lot of them use like emotes and like special like little taunts in game. And that can lead to a little bit of frustration within the games. And I've seen it within my own teams that I play for. So I definitely believe esports etiquette is a very real thing to try to like control in a majority of matches. Yes.
How do you do that? Justin, any clue on how you might moderate that as the shoutcaster? I mean, I know both you and Alec have been shoutcasting for your schools. What do you see?
Yeah, so one of the things that you see, especially when you've played games and you're watching high level games, the beginning of the match you say good luck, have fun, and after the match you say good games. But what really shows the respect and then that respect and the goodwill you have towards the other team is keeping in contact with them. That's the kind of like goodwill and the good sportsmanship that you see, wanting to be able to play with those people and continue to get better. That's just kind of how esports moves along with their sportsmanship.
So that sounds like sportsmanship that you definitely want to show in the chat window and just how you respect the other player in the game. But what about timing? You know, what about the logistics or the technical components of playing a game?
Yeah, so the technical components of playing a game is obviously you want to make sure you have something that can run it, or else you ruin the experience, or the internet to hold that bandwidth going on. It's definitely something that you need to make the gaming and the competitive experience more enjoyable.
So don't be that guy, in other words.
Don't be that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, don't be that guy.
Great. Were you guys ever that guy at one point? Just on accident. I won't tell anybody.
There was a time when I was 13 and the Xbox 360 was in the basement. So I will say that I was definitely one of those people at one point.
Wow. We'll forget about that time in your life. You were young, don't make mistakes. I'm very curious to hear y'all's story. I mean, Alec, you have been playing esports now for how long?
It'd be about 2 years, but the game that I've been playing consistently that has become my esport, we're moving on to about 6 years now.
Well, you seem so passionate. I've spoken to you a couple of times outside of today, and I love to see the passion that you have around shoutcasting, playing. Tell me a little bit about what you see in the future. Is there a future for you in esports, and do you hope that it reaches professional levels on the level of, or on par with NBA and NBA, organizations like that?
I certainly hope so. I've been playing the game for 6 years because I love to do it, and I have a driving passion to compete and get to know a lot of other people. My teammates especially are some of my best friends that I've had in my lifetime. So I certainly want to try to make this what I'm doing now, either shoutcasting or actually becoming a professional in my field. I definitely want to see me grow into one of those for sure.
That's awesome. Justin, you have a similar story as far as your purpose, your passion for the game. Where do you see yourself going and taking your passion for esports into post-grad life?
Yeah, I mean, I want to see myself. I'm a competitor at heart, but I know I'm not very good at video games. So when I look at casting and I look at people who can run those tournaments and people who run that and bringing the enjoyment and the competition to people who didn't really even have that before, that's the enjoyment I get out of it, and that's where I see myself post college, is just being able to run those things and see people grow and develop as players, and not only as players but human beings. It's that growth that I look for.
That's great. So Alec, I got a question for you. What would you say as a shoutcaster to those that are watching the games, that maybe they're not professional gamers, maybe they play a game here or there, and maybe they're struggling to follow the matches? How would you help them as they're cheering on their school?
Well, I would definitely say, I think, listening to the shoutcasters, like, get hype when something definitely happens is a big indicator that something huge just happened in the match. And when shoutcasting, we try to do our best as possible to just kind of like, maybe like simplify things a little bit for those who may not understand what's happening. But if you just look for those key, like, hype, like screaming and like fists in the air, celebrating sort of plays, that's definitely a great indicator.
That's really funny but true. It's when you're watching somebody else who's actively animated while viewing the sport, then you can associate each time there's something big with what's happening on the screen. Eventually, I wouldn't give me much hope, but some might be able to catch on. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me on
Absolutely.
Esports Center. A lot of fun and great information that you guys share. And I hope that we get to root for that underdog in the next show.